Right to this, a suggestion via a channel member. Let's go ahead and jump into the video immediately. Let's see where this takes us, guys.
Today, we're going to talk about a very unique country with a complex relationship with both the US and China. It plays a lesser-known role in the world, and that country is South Africa. On September 10th, a 5-year-long lawsuit came to an end in a South African court. 7 Chinese citizens were sentenced to
What
20 years in
happened?
prison for human trafficking and forcing
Oh,
Malawian people to work in a sweatshop in Johannesburg.
so slaves.
These 7 individuals were convicted on February 25th this year, including 4 men and 3 women. South African police arrested them during a raid on a bedding factory in 2019. The factory, run by Chinese nationals, was surrounded by high walls and barbed wire. Armed security monitored the workers' movements. According to the prosecution, the investigation revealed that from 2017 to 2019, the factory employed 91 undocumented Malawians, including 37 children. They were forced to
Jeez.
work 7 days a week, 11 hours a day. They were constantly surveilled by armed guards and were restricted in their movements. South African
Yeah,
Judge
so like
David
literally
Mpango
slaves.
stated during sentencing that these individuals were forced to operate machinery, causing some of them to lose their sight or become disabled. According to a
Wowzers,
statement from
guys.
South Africa's
Wow.
Department of Employment and Labor, several minors were among the 21 victims. Most of them originally worked at Chinese factories in Malawi and were lured to South Africa with false promises. During the trial, many victims
The
testified that they
youngest
were
was
secretly
14.
transported to the factory in windowless trucks. Once they arrived, their freedom was taken away. They weren't allowed to leave, had to work on holidays, and weren't allowed to contact the outside world. They couldn't even prepare their own meals, and the living and working conditions were extremely harsh. The Chinese bosses, the sweatshop, and the 20-year sentences initially made people think this was just another case of a Belt and Road Initiative gone wrong, where
Yeah,
just
yeah, that seems to be a consistent thing here, guys. Like that Belt and Road Initiative that China did with the continent of Africa, with many, many countries within it. Yeah, a lot of it is falling through, guys. I mean, think about this here. I mean, you have a gigantic amount of people that are coming into this country, not to this country, into these countries, right, specifically, and they're basically paying underneath the table a lot of the higher ups there, and the people themselves are not getting any real benefit. In fact, a lot of the times it's to the detriment of the actual locals. But as long as 5 people make all their money, I think it's fine for the ones who are making the money. But other than that, a lot of people are starting to complain specifically on the continent of Africa regarding the Belt and Road Initiative.
justice had been served.
It didn't
However,
work out,
things were not
guys.
that simple. Suddenly, a Chinese woman in the audience spoke up, prompting media reporters to quickly shift their cameras. Here's what happened next in her conversation with the reporters.
Let's hear it.
The boss is right here in this country.
Have you told the police about the real owner?
The real owner is right here in this country. You know that?
The woman told the
Okay.
reporters, "I'll tell you, this boss lives in the Chinese community in this country. He's a gun dealer." The reporters kept asking who she was referring to.
Say the name.
Where is he now? Where does he live?
Say the name.
The woman responded, "He lives in this town, in
Okay.
this country. I have a
Oh,
photo of
wait a
him."
second.
The reporters were shocked and demanded to see the photo. The Chinese woman immediately opened her phone, pointed to one of the photos, and said, "This, Mr. Lin, is the big boss here. Do you know why the first person disappeared? Because he's a gun dealer, selling a lot of guns. Do you see this? The China Shield firearm store in Bruma." She implied that Mr. Lin had powerful connections and told the reporters, "Why hasn't this big boss been caught yet?"
Right.
Because he must run a large business.
Right. He's greasing a lot of palms, basically.
Why did none of the people in the court testify against him? Because they're afraid he'll have them killed, so they stayed silent. They all thought they'd be fine, but the boss kept lying to them. According to the information
I believe
provided by
her.
this woman, we
I
found
believe
that
her.
on June 16th, 2018, South Africa's first gun store, operated by Chinese nationals, China Shield, and the South Africa Shield indoor shooting range officially opened in Johannesburg. The opening ceremony was attended by consuls and public safety officials, including Consul General Chao Lei from the Chinese consulate in Johannesburg, Director Sun Yao Hung from the Johannesburg Public Safety Bureau, the Cleveland Police Chief, the Director of the South African Chinese Police
Cleveland?
and Civilian Cooperation Center, the president of the All Africa Chinese Peaceful Unification Promotion Association, Li Xinzhu, and the president of the South African Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau General Chamber of Commerce, Wu Xiaokang. During the opening speech, Mr. Lin Da-song, chairman of China Shield, said that China Shield and Africa Shield are currently the only Chinese-owned and managed gun stores and shooting ranges in South Africa, established to combat the rising crime rate and deteriorating social security situation in the country. We noticed that while the Chinese woman spoke in court, a South African female police officer repeatedly pushed and pulled her, trying to stop her from speaking and remove her from the scene. However, the woman struggled and refused to leave. When she took out her phone to show the reporters the photo of Mr. Lin, the police officer desperately tried to stop her. But when the Chinese woman finally pulled out the photo and faced the swarm of reporters, the police officer had no choice but to release her.
Right.
Analysts believe that this woman is likely a relative of one of the defendants. She initially thought that their boss, Lin Da-song, could handle the case, but the unexpected harsh verdict left them feeling deceived. The 7 defendants must have refused to confess and implicate the boss behind the scenes, but now they can't change their testimony. That's why a relative from the audience stepped forward to testify. From Mr. Lin Da-song's background, it's clear that he's a key figure in China's Belt and Road Initiative in South Africa. Therefore, the woman's public accusation in court was incredibly risky. It's like a fight to the death scenario where she had nothing left to lose. Local media has commented, "Just watch this video and you'll understand. This country is not governed by administrative departments. It is governed by foreigners. If you have money, you can enter this country and do whatever you want." What I mean is, if these people were to steal something in China, I can guarantee you that a 20-year prison sentence would be nothing. They might even have been executed. But these same people came from China to South Africa, commit crimes, and you really shouldn't show them any mercy.
Because, guys, that's exactly what the locals are actually complaining about. Like, the locals are like, hey, listen, guys, there are people coming here, all right, through some, like, easy visa process through the Belt and Road Initiative from China and any country in Africa, right? And they're coming here and they're doing all the stuff that they can't do in China here. They're doing it here. All right. And the people that are basically making all the money are the ones who are not even on the street level. But they're out here wearing Patek Philippe's and Vacheron and Constantin. Because that's what they're doing, guys. That's what they're doing. All right. While people are starving. But all right.
This country was once full of hope. After 1994, the people of South Africa could no longer tolerate apartheid. They wanted to build their own country, a truly beautiful country that could help the underprivileged, the rich, and people of color. But over time, with the corruption of the communists, this country is being turned into a banana republic. Those who believe we're not a banana republic, but a good country, are just deceiving themselves.
Oh, yeah, bro.
Analysts say
South Africa. Look at that. Like, you understand that the people that are ruling whatever country we're looking at right now, this does not look like South Africa, right? But either way, whatever we're looking at right now, the people that are running things here are getting all this money, all these like, you know, oil-backed or whatever mineral-backed loans from China. Terrible loans, by the way. They're terrible. The interest rates are abysmal. Okay, but they're taking it. The ones who are getting all this money, these people will never walk down the street. Understand this here. They're not living like this. The people are. Right? Because all we're encountering is, in fact, corruption. Banana Republic is a really good representation of a good amount of the countries in Africa. Specifically the ones who have been taking Chinese money and then giving Chinese citizens like easy access to their country to basically end up committing a crazy amount of crime, guys.
Africa is not only the African country with the most severe infiltration by the CCP, but also has significant and unspeakable schemes perpetrated by the CCP. In 2018, a YouTube broadcaster discussed a research study he led, which looked into how the CCP controls and undermines South Africa, turning it into a CCP capital colony. He connected this with the communist-backed protests and riots happening in the US at the time, and questioned whether the U.S. might follow South Africa's path, being undermined from within by the CCP.
Yes.
The broadcaster said that his colleague at the Research Institute had traveled to South Africa and parts of Southern Africa in February 2018. They conducted a climate, soil, and temperature data survey. He had commissioned this colleague, along with a demographer, to investigate the social conditions in South Africa. His colleague randomly surveyed South Africans on the street, including officials, agents, and economists. They also visited the stock exchange and ultimately gathered 2,300 survey results. The broadcaster mentioned that his colleague told him after returning that he had decided to join the Republican Party and support Trump for president. This colleague had originally been a supporter of the Democratic Party, However, after visiting South Africa, witnessing its miserable state, and experiencing the mindset of South African people, he was deeply shocked. He also emphasized that President Trump had previously stated that the U.S. must not become like South Africa. Yet so many Americans oppose that view. If those people could visit South Africa in person, they would understand why.
Yeah, guys, hold on.
That during the period,
I'll absolutely agree with that. I agree with that fully. Just because you may not be fully aware of like the geopolitics of like specific regions, you should probably be very cautious with some of the things you say sometimes, right? I've been to South Africa a couple of times, right, in my life, probably early 2000s or so. And I can definitely tell you what it was my first time and the last time I've gone, right? That was a gigantic shift. You could definitely tell that there's just something wrong here, bro. Right? Like, yeah, it looks great in some places here. Definitely, it looks very good. But you can definitely tell that there is like an issue with even trying to maintain some of the things that were basically there. I get it. The majority of the people, they think they hear South Africa and they think apartheid. I get it. That's why you hold on, guys. And I think that's what is holding people. They say, okay, apartheid, so we need to make sure we do an immediate 180. But the problem here, guys, is you can't do it the way that it's actually being done in South Africa, bro. You can't do it like that, specifically if you want like the world to not think you're a monster, right? You get what I mean here? It is very dirty in certain places, unnecessarily. A lot of the infrastructure is basically crumbling, similar to our crumbling infrastructure, but a little bit worse. Things are not being maintained adequately, guys. There are some issues, the truth be told here. So of course, if you're running that country, you're like, okay, hold on. I wonder if I can get a loan to kind of fix some of these things. Sure. Great. Amazing. But the problem is that none of the countries are not really seeing any actual help here, guys. Nigeria is one of the countries that are definitely seeing some help, right? Because I mean, there's corruption in Nigeria. Absolutely. Right. But it actually looks decent. Like Rwanda, Uganda, some of their big cities are looking very good, guys. Ethiopia, they have another, like they have a big city there too. And it also looks very nice, guys. I mean, there are some countries who are taking the money through the Belt and Road Initiative, right? They're taking the money, but they're actually kind of investing back into the country, not specifically some random account in Switzerland or Cayman Islands or hell even, guys, right? You understand what I'm saying here. There are some rulers who are not as corrupt as others, but this is a problem in South Africa, bro. It is, okay? It is. But all right, listen, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. I'll go ahead and leave the link for the video in the description if you guys want to complete it, guys. But all right, listen, I'll catch you guys later.